of course, we only had like maybe 3 or 4 walls. It wasn't like we had like the show now.
Right.
And, we really didn't have, we had DJs, breakdancers, and all that, but, it wasn't like a big spectacle, but the crowd was so appreciative of what was going on. And the buzz was so strong because we pulled in artists from all over to be part of it, And, I think the oldest person in this show at the time was 31.
Wow.
That's crazy to think that the oldest person was 31. I was in my 20s. Jabbar was in his early 20s. And now I fast forward almost 20 years later,
You're still in your 20s.
No, yeah, I'm still in my 20s. That's part of that shifting backstory.
You are listening to the Artist King Podcast. I am your host, DTM of DeltaTangoMike.com. The Artist King Podcast features artists, entrepreneurs, and business coaches who share their knowledge, expertise, and resources to provide insight into the ways that we can find our own personal success with our creative talents. Today, we welcome W. W is a curator, artist, professor, entrepreneur, and my personal art life mentor. Born in North Carolina and based out of Atlanta, Dwayne W. Wright has firmly established himself within the art industry as a visual artist and curator. As an award-winning visual artist, W's work depicts African American life and urban culture, and his work has been featured in campaigns for brands like RedBull, Coca-Cola, Sony, Champs, Microsoft, and professional sports teams like the Atlanta Braves and the Atlanta Hawks. As a curator and co-founder of Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey Art Beats and Lyrics, W has over 130 curated art exhibitions that draw crowds in the thousands to venues like the Mecedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, LoanDepot Park in Miami, and numerous venues around the United States. Hello, W. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today?
Doing all right. Thanks for having me on out here and everything.
Oh, nice. If I was going to start a series of interviews, I was going to have to include you. There's no way out of that. Well, thank you for being here. And let's start off with a couple questions just to get us warmed up.
All right.
Tell us your name and what do you do?
Well, my name is Dwayne Wright. Most people know me as W. I am an illustrator, painter, and also the curator of Jack Honey Art Beats and Lyrics.
Oof. So it's Jack Honey? I thought it was Jack Daniels.
It's Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey Art Beats and Lyrics. It's a very long title, but it's Jack Honey's.
A long word.
Yeah.
Long word. So so as a curator, and how do you manage a whole bunch of artwork in one night for one night only?
Oh boy, it starts off with getting to know the artist's work. You got to know what the artist does, So if you see somebody's work you like, whether it's online or whether you know them, you hope they continue to do that thing that you like because then you can work with it. I don't really like surprises. If you're known for doing things that are colorful and paintings, I'm not expecting you to do like a sculpture, because it's kind of hard for me to gauge how to put that in the show. So as long as the artist does what they do normally, I can gauge, okay, this is how we can take what they're going to do and enhance the experience. That's what we try to do, enhance the viewing experience.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So when people come to it, it's not like it's on a white wall. All our walls have colors and patterns and designs and all that on there. So.
And they're temporary walls. They're like just not even a real wall. It's like some of the walls is artwork. It's just a big old light box.
Well, yeah. So we started incorporating light boxes into the show. Our first attempt at light boxes were probably when light boxes had the tube lighting inside of it, and that was rough trying to put stuff on the tube light. Big metal boxes. It was really crazy. But then the technology became where now they have light boxes with LEDs, and it's a lot more convenient for moving and all that. So
the weight.
The weight is not as bad, and it's not as temperamental. As you walk around trying not to break glass.
Yes. Nice. And so, how do you get a job as a curator? That's cool because you're an artist.
Yeah.
You've been an artist all your life, and
I'll tell you this: I really don't know how to get a job being a curator because I kind of made the job up as we went along.
Okay.
That's the role that we gradually morphed into between me and Jabari working on. So yeah. So I would not tell anybody, hey, how to apply to be a curator. So the position that I currently have currently made. So yeah.
So you build the position.
Yeah, you build it.
You create it.
Yes, just like how you want to be an astronaut. Just build it.
That's it.
Just build a rocket. How you would
Start wearing a suit.
Yeah, surgeon. Just build a hospital. That's how you do it.
That's how you do it. I think that in some creative things, yeah, you could. Like this podcast. Like, how do I be a podcaster? Well, I just started.
Yes.
How do you? And this is not a secret, but I've said this before. I started the podcast many years ago because I wanted to ask questions of the artists for me to learn. Right? I wanted to learn stuff, and I thought, and if you remember early days, 20 years ago when I was starting out, is that people were not open about sharing how what they do.
Everybody had secrets.
That's right. They had their little tricks, their little art tricks, their little skills.
There are no more secrets anymore.
No.
It's all out in the open.
Right. and so, but like, here's an example. When I started to do logos, what I thought I was pro at that time, with that level in those days, I didn't know what to charge. So you couldn't just walk up to an agency and say, "Hey, how much do I charge for logos?" So I looked up in the phone book a bunch of agencies. They said to fax in. You can send a fax to ask questions and so on. So I did that. I would send a fax in asking them that I need a logo. Here's what I'm after.
Did you have to wait for them to fax it back?
And then they faxed back an answer and a quote. And that's how I found out how much to charge for logos. And so
do fax machines exist anymore? Can you still do a fax?
I'm pretty sure you can. I think nowadays there's still places that have a fax machine, and if you don't have a fax, there's an online thing that you can do, like an email, and then it shows up as a fax.
But why? Anyways,
why? It's because I'm pretty sure it's there's the way you keep track of certain things.
Okay. I was just curious.
I don't know, but who would do that? I don't know. Somebody does that. I look at the Wall Street, people on Wall Street, and they're doing all the deals with the shares and whatever. And they got all these little pieces of paper. Like, how do you keep track of all of that? That's crazy. It's too much stuff. So I don't know who still does it with paper. So in those days, that's what I did to find out information, because it wasn't easy to just call people or just go up to people and ask them questions. And so I decided that, hey, I want Dubelyoo, I want Neil Hamilton, I want all these different artists, Eugene, remember Eugene, James Eugene. I want them to tell me insights about the art world and the business of art. And so I was thinking to myself, well, how do I get people to be open to just share? And I said, well, if I make it a podcast and say we're teaching the world and sharing with the world, boom, they're going to tell me stuff.
Yeah. But you had to put it out, though.
Right. Well, right. It wasn't a trick. It wasn't
so tell me all your secrets. When is this coming out? Never. It's never coming out. I have your secrets now.
Right. Oh, my. That's right. You're right. I did still have to follow through and make it a podcast. And so, yes, I wasn't faking that part where we're sharing with the community. And but that's how. Going back to, like, how do you become a curator? Well, you start curating things. You understand what is appealing, what looks good. Yada and I, we used to put on art shows a long time ago, and Yada would spend a day hanging up artwork, taking it down, hanging it up until it looked right to him.
Hanging artwork, oh boy, it is a process. If you ever want to find out if somebody knows anything about hanging artwork, you ask them, what do you hang at? You hang at 61 or 60. That's for people, that's the eye level for where you want to put the middle of the painting. Most people do either 61 or 60.
61 or 60?
Yeah.
That's 1 inch difference.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal.
I mean, depending on how precise you are,
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's how you hang a piece, So most galleries, they say that's what they hang at.
I see, gallery. Okay. But at my house, I go by the edge of the ceiling.
Yeah, see, that's different. And also, you got furniture here, so you got things to consider. But like for a regular open space, that's what they do.
I see. Okay, very good. See, we're learning
stuff.
Yes,
we're sharing secrets. More secrets. More insider secrets next on Artist King.
There you go. That's good. That's right. And so you slowly develop from an artist and into curating things, and we're not touching on your beginnings and the start
origin
of your
stories.
career, because we have a whole nother series of podcasts on iTunes right now. You can hear W a couple of times.
Yeah.
He was there, and you can hear his background.
Yes. I like to change my background story every bit. Just just update it.
Right, right.
It's like,
for the next generation.
Yeah, it's like, I thought you were from North Carolina.
Right.
Like, nah.
South Carolina.
Just keep moving it around, make it interesting.
Was it hilly where you're from? Is it?
No, it was very foresty.
Okay.
I grew up in a place where it was, I don't know if the term is deciduous forest. I could be wrong, but it was a lot of pine trees.
Okay.
A lot of pine trees. Huge pine cones.
And what side of the North Carolina are you from?
South Central, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
North Carolina, yeah. About 40 minutes from like South Carolina. And about an hour and a half from the beach. So.
Okay.
Yeah,
an hour and a half. Yeah. So quite a little ways. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I lived in North Carolina when I was in the Marine Corps.
Camp Lejeune.
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Jacksonville.
Yep.
Yeah.
I used to I hung out there once. Very aggressive town.
Yes.
You ever go to a club and you're like, the testosterone is high in the damn.
And the consumption of alcohol.
Yeah, it's very aggressive.
Yes. That's the way, they say you don't have to be crazy to join the Marine Corps, but it helps.
Well, that's a good job description.
Yeah, that's it.
It's not a requirement, but it is.
It helps. Yeah, it helps if you are already crazy. So you're in Atlanta. You're a working artist. I think you were one of the few artists when I met that were doing like a email newsletter.
Yeah, I tried that out for a while.
Yeah. And like in my eyes, like I never went to school. I didn't take any art classes anywhere. I just learned from watching others. And so I learned from watching other artists that they have a portfolio, like a big black portfolio thing where they stick artwork in.
Yeah, I remember carrying many of those. I had to give those away. Let that go.
And so picking up cues from other artists, I noticed that boom. Okay, so you have a newsletter, and all through the 2 or 3 articles or whatever you call them in that newsletter, you would talk about yourself and the things that you're doing. And I was like, that's deep, man. Like this guy is pumping himself out there, and I think that's super important because I did remember a quote that said, no one's gonna brag about you as good as you are. And I was like, this is great. And so as social media started, I took on that task. It's like, I am gonna pump myself out there.
Yeah.
Pump myself
and you're
out.
consistent.
Yeah, I try.
You are very consistent. That's say that and that's one of the things that makes a big difference is being consistent. And that's one of the things I appreciate is like you've always been out there doing something. I don't think there's ever been a time in which I was like, well, Dan ain't doing nothing. He's just chilling. Even the pandemic didn't stop nothing. He just kept going. Yeah. Consistency.
And so I appreciate that because it is my point was that through your example, I seen you do a lot of things that other artists were not doing, and I think that put you on a whole different level. So that when it came time for Arby's and Lyrics and Jabari, like you were like that perfect person who knew a ton of artists, who had the creative eye to put things together, mash them together. And to the point where now it's like how many years now doing this Arby's and Lyrics?
Oh man, so I would say the first time was like in December 2004, but then the first time we worked together was April of 2005. So it was like only a handful of months between, being in a bar and being in a museum.
Right. At the high.
Yeah, the high. So it was a very, very short period of time.
Whose idea was that to go from something simple at the bar to, hey, let's talk to the high?
Well, I think what happened is after the first show it went over pretty well. And then somebody approached the bar about doing like college night or something like that, doing something similar there. And that's when we met up after the first show. And that's when we started working together.
Okay. Because I still have my drawing that I put at the high.
You do?
And I still have the ticket that I used to get into the high.
You got to scan that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we need to see that because I don't have any of that. After that show, I was like, I'm going home. I went back to my apartment and just sat down.
That's how it is after
every show. He's like, I'm just going to sit here and just stare out the window. So.
How much preparation do you think it took for that High Museum show?
Oh man, it took a lot. You know, a lot of artists were helping, working on it. We were in the West End at the Metropolitan. You know, back when it was super sketchy. You know, back when there was no rules, it was like the Wild West out there, and it was a lot of work that went in, a lot of creativity went in there to pull it off. You know, and then, you know, of course, we only had like maybe 3 or 4 walls. It wasn't like we had like the show now,
Right?
And you know, we really didn't have. We had DJs, break dancers, and all that, but you know, it wasn't like a big spectacle, you know. But the crowd was so appreciative of what was going on, and the buzz was so strong because we pulled in artists from all over to be part of it, you know. And you know, I think the oldest person in this show at the time was 31.
Wow,
that's crazy to think that the oldest person was 31. You know, I was in my 20s. Jabbar was in his early 20s, and now fast forward almost 20 years later, you know.
You're still in your 20s.
Yeah, I'm still in my 20s. That's part of that shifting backstory.
Dang. And so, like, would you say it took a month or 2 months of planning, 6 months of planning, or 1 week to the other?
I probably took, you figure, a couple months to do it. You know, because it was like only 4 months between the shows.
Right.
About 4.5 months. So, you know, from that time to that time, we figured it, as much as we could with our young minds and, you know, not knowing how a lot of things worked. So
not knowing that you could fail, it helps a lot.
Yeah, like not knowing that you need things like insurance, and not knowing that you need things, you know, like capacity and all that stuff. So we didn't, you know, we were coming in as just some young dudes just trying to do a show.
Nice. And I see that, like, that period leading up to a show to be so exhausting that of course, once the show's over, you're done. Like, don't talk to me.
Oh, you're tired. Like after even today, you know, we just did a show on Saturday. You know, I needed a couple of days to, you know, get back to normal.
Yeah.
Because nowadays when we do tours, our work day it's possible to do a 24-hour day.
Right.
Yeah. So you need some time to recover.
Yeah.
You know, for self-care type of thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Recharge the batteries.
And then get back at it.
Down. Yeah. You know, when I was producing our shows, that's how I feel. Like, at the end of the show, we're just tired, exhausted, and like, we're not doing this again. And then later on that week, people are congratulating you.
Yeah, like, we're doing this again.
They're like, hey, when's the next one? And you're like, nah, should we?
They're like, are we going to do this again?
And then people come at you with ideas like, in the next show, you should do this. The next show, you should do that. And like,
Usually the idea is always more difficult. The ideas are easier.
Yeah, right. Saying it out loud is
never
easy.
like, you should do this, and that's easy to do. Like, no, it's like, hey, how about you do this, but 10 times bigger? On a helicopter. In space. Like, damn, how am I supposed to do this?
Drain your bank account.
Yeah, just spend all the money.
I like, oh man. So yeah, it's I can see how. Yes, you need time. That's why I waited a few days before I text you. It was like, yeah, he's gonna need.
Oh yeah, I needed
nothing.
Yeah, you know, I needed some time to get back in the mix, and then, you know, got another show coming up, so we're gonna work on that.
All right, and so it continues on.
Yeah, we're going to Oakland.
All right, nice.
Yeah, first time in Oakland, and then after that we got Houston, New York, and Chicago. Then New Orleans and LA. So we're going to your hometown.
Well, there you go. Nice.
Yes.
Do you have a date for LA?
Sometime in the summer, I got to get a date for it.
Summer, okay.
I might buy me an LA hat.
Yes, do
I wonder
it.
if they sell those.
You wonder. That's a good idea. You should make one. You should build that your own. Make your own.
I don't have an LA hat. I need to get one.
Yeah, I find a cool color and I buy it. I was like, oh, that's cool.
They make them in every color.
That's
though.
right. Even all solid black. Black on black.
Yeah.
I don't know who's ever going to see that. Unless you're in person, you're not going to see
I mean, but
it.
that is kind of dope, though.
Right, yes. I'm like, I'll get it. I'll buy it. I'll take it.
I'm going to put that on my to-do list. Buy an LA hat. Yeah. I might buy a hat from every city.
Yes. Well, that's how I do with clothes, too, now. Like, wherever I go and travel, I'll buy local shirts that say the name of the city.
Yeah.
And then next time I'm visiting a different city, I'll bring a shirt from the other city.
And wear.
So, like, boom, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And it's great conversation starters.
yeah, right. Oh, that's my hometown, or what's this? And they start talking.
I want to get a Detroit hat.
Okay.
Because I like Detroit.
Yeah.
Detroit's cool.
And well, if you get the Tigers, they got the orange D.
Yeah, and that's just dope.
I'm Dan. You're
Yeah,
W.
yeah.
The D. We
Yeah.
love the letter D.
Yeah. Big fans of it.
Big fans of
One
the
of my
letter
favorite
D.
letters.
Yeah. The Detroit. What's that baseball team?
Tigers.
Tigers. Yeah.
Yeah.
They got the old school, classic, old English letter D. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I love that. Yes. So talking about hats,
Yes.
I've been going to Lids, and they got these hats that are for $30. They're blank, and then you can get your get whatever soda.
Okay.
On there. Yeah, and so by the time you find a hat and put the words on it, it's $50. And that's what I'm liking that now.
Okay.
I'm starting to do that more because I wanted to wear whatever I wanted to say.
Yeah. You can have a hat for every show.
Yes, that's right.
That could be your thing.
Yeah, so I want to get another one that says Artist King, digital artist or something weird, some kind of related to what I do and what I do.
Can you control the font?
Yes, and so they got like 5 or 6 fonts.
Okay, you can't bring your own file, can you?
I don't think so. Nah,
Okay.
you're gonna need
There's me trying to customize everything.
Yeah, you need your connects.
Only approved fonts here, buddy.
Right. Well, but
licensed.
Right. That and these they're the people who work there. They're not embroidery people. They're
trying to sell some hats.
They got a job. They got a job, and if you pick a hat, they'll sell it to you.
Yeah.
So you're kind of asking a little extra.
Yeah, they're not artisans.
Yeah, they're not into that. Yeah. They give it to you, and if it's wrong,
gotcha.
Like, all right, well, not today then. So yeah, so you have to manage your expectations.
Okay.
But yeah, hats, shirts. I'm starting to curate my look in a way where it's stuff that I like, and I don't have to dig through clothing racks to find the size. And, the color I like, and so on.
Yes. My thing is tracksuits. I like tracksuits.
But you've been on that trip for a long time.
Yeah, I like tracksuits. I have a whole bunch of them. And the funny thing is, I have a lot of the same tracksuit. The black one with white stripes. I have a bunch of them. It's not like I have only one. Like 4 or 5 of those things.
Right.
Every time I see them on sale, I buy them.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I have consistent.
That's and that becomes your brand and your
Yeah.
look.
Yeah.
Right.
And plus, they're like adult pajamas. They just feel comfortable, and it's art. It's like it's athleisure yet menacing at the same time.
Right. You can be out in public with them.
You can be out in public with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can collect money for people wearing it.
Right. Yeah. That's good. Oh man. So what about your art? Let's talk about your art, because your art has been amazing for as long as I've known it. And I've told this story many times before. Is that first time I met you, I asked to see your sketchbook and you ignored me, and then a week later I came back with my own sketchbook, and I asked you to see your sketchbook while I was handing you my sketchbook. I didn't ask you if you wanted to look at it. I didn't introduce myself, say, hey, I'm an artist too. I just said, hey, man, let me check out your sketchbook as I was handing you mine. And you were like, okay. And then you handed me yours. And ever since then, I've been amazed at your level of talent and detail. And, of course, color pencils. You're one of the first artists I ever saw who sketched with color pencils. And so now, looking at your work, it's still super intense. And it's very people-focused.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about it.
Well, I've always been more of a person that likes to draw people, Now I'm experimenting by adding little landscapes in the background, but it's little landscapes. I'm not doing like a whole big forest or anything like that. I'm not going to Bob Ross it, but, I like drawing people because I think that's what people connect to. I like people to see themselves in the work, and they can connect with the character that's being created. Now I moved away from doing as much characterization as I used to do. Okay. I used to exaggerate the features a lot more. The colors were a lot more reds and greens and blacks. Now I'm getting more into more natural colors, more of still trying to pop, a little bit with some color, but keeping it more, I would say, less saturated as before. And I think it's more subtle, but I think the viewer connects with them.
Looking at your posts for RBs and lyrics and the sketchy look of Bun. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Because you can see who that is. Yeah. And you still see the lines that were used to create the drawing, but it's so smooth, like it just fits.
Oh, thanks. I tell you how that happened. So for all the listeners out there, I was never really a person that did digital drawing until Dan. So Dan got me on the surface. He did the impossible. And then my wife got me on the iPad, and that changed everything for me. So I was able to go, and it was like giving Conseco steroids. I was like, what?
It took you out there.
Yeah, I was like, we hitting all the home runs now.
That's right.
So, so now I went to digital, and it allowed me to knock out the flyers a lot more. So for the last season's tour, I came up with 2 different styles of drawing just to do all the flyers for each city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so one was the more cross-hatching, the pen and ink style, and the other one was like a more of a vector style. And then what ended up happening is I did a project for a magazine where I did one style and they were like, no, it's too simple. So I combined both of them, and that's why you see the one like that's out there now.
Nice, yes.
Yeah,
That's always cool.
Yeah, having to be able to be versatile enough to be like, okay, I need to adjust for this particular project. Yeah.
And where do you get those inspirations from? Other artists, other works?
Yeah, I looked at some other folks on like design. It's as a design inspiration. I looked up there and I saw other illustrators how they approached having work that is more vector based and more like more line art ink style, but with a digital. Because it's one thing to draw it with a brush pen. That's great. I could do that, but that takes a lot longer, and there's very little room for edits.
Right.
Once the ink is down, it's down.
That's it.
So being able to do it digitally means I can take pictures and revamp them, re-edit them, because I had to draw Bun B multiple times.
That wasn't the first one.
No, it was like every time he performs with us, I have to do another poster. So it's like I do another picture.
You don't want to reuse the same artwork.
Yeah, you don't want to use the same artwork. But then you got to the point where I was like, okay, how many pictures of this man can I draw? So I had to be able to switch it around and all that. So that's what one of the things digital has been able to let me do.
Yes. Yeah, I man, the day that I had the budget, and every few years, the wife and I will budget as to what I can buy for myself that's brand new. What I can get in between those big budget periods is on me. That I can trade and it's used, But there'll be times where it's like, here's the budget for what you can buy brand new. And so one year we had enough money for me to buy a Surface. The Surface 3 was out at that time.
Yeah.
And the iPad Pro was not out yet. So Surface was like, if you wanted something to draw on a computer on the screen, it was the Surface. And so I went and got it. And I could have got the most expensive Surface or the next one down. And if I went the next one down, I could save some money and buy an iPad. So I was like, well, I want both.
Yeah.
I'm greedy. Man, the day I bought those, I put them in my backpack and I took out all the sketchbooks, all the markers, all the pencils, all the big heavy stuff that I used to carry in my backpack. I took it out.
It was gone.
Yeah.
Has it been back, has it?
No. Sometimes I do carry a little pack. Maybe I want to draw with pencils while I'm on vacation. I don't know.
But my sketchbooks now, I still have them. But a lot of them has just been me practicing. Anatomy sketches and all that. But like my everyday carry is my Surface, my iPad, my pack of pencils and pens, which isn't super extensive like it used to be. I used to carry the big, the fold out case with like 30 pencil pens.
Used to have a whole lunchbox.
Yeah, lunchbox, big tackle box full of that stuff.
Yeah, tackle box.
I ain't carrying that. No. I got my favorite pens I like to use. I got my oddly enough, I'm starting to getting into those 2mm drawing pencils. The mechanical ones.
Real thin, huh?
Yeah, the big thick leads.
Oh,
the big thick ones.
Okay, the thick ones.
I started using that. I never liked them. I always used like the 5s and the 7s and the 9s. Now you can't really find 9 lead that much anymore for mechanical pens. But I started moving to that, and that's what I carry now. I get them in different colors. I have my.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I carry one black, red, and blue.
I'm going to look at your bag before you
Yeah, it's really small. There's nothing magical going on. I do have I did get addicted to Fude tip Japanese fountain pens. That was my vice over the pandemic.
Well, you told me about Daiso.
Oh, Daiso. Oh, yeah.
And
in LA.
Yes, in LA. And so I travel to LA a lot. And, and
you hit them up, didn't you?
I hit them up.
You hit them hard, didn't you?
And it's $1.25. Bro, it's $1.25 on the shelf. Like, what? For these pens? So I took a ton, And so then sometimes you get to the counter, you're like, wait a minute, this is like $50.
Yeah, see, that is another thing. Yeah, it's $1, but then if you buy all of them, that stuff starts to add up because you're gonna buy 2 sketchbooks, 2 notepads, 10 pens, and then you start ringing up like, damn, I could have just. Do I need all this?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And then I gotta put it in a bag to bring it back.
Then you gotta bring it back.
So
I brought some, the ink for like doing calligraphy. I'm not gonna use. I didn't use that. I'm not dipping a brush in the ink
Right.
and writing calligraphy.
Right.
But it was $1. You know, it was $1.
I'm not gonna leave that behind for $1.
Somebody else might get it. I don't,
Might be a gift.
I'm gonna hoard it.
Yes, that's right. Hoard it. I no. So I think so. When you mentioned the pen, the Japanese pen, like I picked up a ton, and I have them, and I still have them, and so I keep them in rotation.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, I do also have a little roll up thing, and so I got a couple of pens this way, a couple of pencils that way, and like those go
Now,
with me.
here's a question for you. When it comes time to sign a receipt, do you use their pen or do you break out your own pen?
No, I use their pen because I'm not gonna break out my art stuff.
Okay.
And let me tell you, we've been very particular, Yada and I, because we've spent a lot of time together growing through the art life, and we never let people touch our pens.
Yeah.
Never. Like, you guys need a pen for something? Hold on, let me find the janky ones.
Yeah.
That we picked up at a hotel somewhere, and use those. You can't use my microns,
I trust very few people with pens.
Yeah.
Very few people.
Like, no.
Because, you know, when people want to borrow your pen, they want to like, okay, let me smash the tip
Yeah,
down and write all over your pen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I like to use my own pen. I don't really like to use
Okay,
theirs.
you have a pen.
And I like to use the brush tip pens.
Okay.
So it makes it all like brush-like with the thicks and the thins. It just makes for a more pleasurable viewing experience.
I need to see your signature then. How do you sign your name? Do you sign W or Dwayne?
Oh, you know, for research, or like for receipts, I don't do
Receipts?
W. You know,
Don't do W?
Nah, I don't do that. That'll be doing too much.
They might keep it.
Yeah,
they might keep that receipt and hold.
Receipt.
Yeah, like he's got his official signature.
Yeah,
You know.
I like the
Our
brush
signature.
pens.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I like the contour lines with all that stuff.
That's crazy, bro. You don't want to see my signature. It just goes like that.
Just a straight line.
just a couple squiggles. I'm like, I'm not gonna contest this. It's cool. I bought it.
Yeah,
You know, it's all right.
it was you. You
Yeah,
bought
it
the
was me.
$80 worth of dollar pens.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I did it. So yes, I think that the devices, electrical devices, kind of liberated us from having to carry a bunch of stuff, especially, you know, and I think that you spent time in New York. You're not from New York.
I'm from New York. I was born in there.
You were born in New York.
I was born in New York.
And then you moved to North Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay. I know there was something with those two places.
Yeah, New York and North Carolina.
And because that's always been like the as far as I remember, it's always been the mystique that New York people always have backpacks, like they carry backpacks.
Well, they have to because, you know, they walk everywhere.
Oh, right.
You know, if you're in a city where you're on foot, you know, it does help to have a bag. You know, that was the thing. Like, you know, in other cities, you know, like Atlanta, you can drive places. You know, New York, you got to catch the bus or the subway. So a lot of people have bags.
Because when I was a kid in LA, you have backpacks because you go to school, and but once I left the Marine Corps and I came to Atlanta, I always felt like I needed a backpack for my sketchbooks.
Yeah.
For my markers, you know, and I'd be hanging out with friends and I ask them, hey, can you give me my bag? And they reach over and they think they're going to pick it up. They're like, what's in here? You carrying bombs, you know, and it's like, no, paper's heavy.
Paper is absolutely heavy. You ever had to move books?
Yes, I pack them in small boxes.
I do a pack them in small boxes. Yeah,
bro, because
nobody's trying to lift up an 80-pound, 90-pound block of books.
Like, this box is big, it'll fit lots of books. Yes, but you need 3 people to pick it up.
Yep, small packages.
Yes, and so and I have a lot of books. You saw some.
Yeah, great
books out
collection,
there.
by the way. You had some really good stuff in there.
We should hang out.
Yeah.
I want you to really take it in.
Yeah, absorb all the knowledge in the books.
I have a mythical and historical side, and then the art side.
Okay. I have mine broken up into Norman Rockwell, people that inspire me, and then I have like the technical stuff on like drawing and how to do this and all that.
That's funny. You said Norman Rockwell.
Oh yeah.
And then those who inspire me.
Yeah, like he gets his own section. Like he got his own section of all his stuff. And also the famous artist schools. I have the course books.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's called Famous Artists Schools? Okay.
Yeah. If there's
I'm about to look it up.
if there's ever a piece of jewelry I would make, it'll be the logo from the Famous Artist School.
Famous Artists
Yeah.
School. I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah,
there's books.
No, that's not the Famous Artist School. The Jamaica.
Oh.
That's not it.
It's an art correspondence course institution. Okay, and it's in the Key People Normal Route. So he was instrumental in it.
Yeah.
Okay, let me look. I'm gonna go ahead and check it out.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about books for a second too. But finishing out with the sketch with the backpack is that I've always been a fan of backpacks, and I have like a stash of backpacks.
Oh yeah.
And one thing that that I was able to do is that the one thing that kept me with the backpack was that I never wanted to leave home and then feel like, I wish I had brought that other pencil.
Yeah.
And
I'm like that now. Like, I feel naked without a pencil.
Yeah.
Without a pen or something to write with.
Right. You want to have your tools handy wherever you are. And but when I went digital, man, it's like I started to now carefully, like I can do half of these things that I did traditional. I can do them in digital now.
My sketchbooks got smaller.
Yes. Lighter.
And lighter. I only have 2 now on me.
Yeah. Right.
2 small sketchbooks.
And like layers don't weigh nothing.
No. You have a million layers, and don't worry about it.
They don't weigh extra. So yeah, that's super helpful to go digital. But I'll never leave traditional. Never going to. Pencils are my first love. I'm gonna stick with pencils forever, never.
I get to be a pencil snob at times too. I do like I use like the sketch with like red pencils or blue pencils, to do like a lot of preliminary sketches, and I've starting to test out different brands. Of course you have the Prismacolors and the Verithins, and started checking out other people's red color pencils, and like I like the way this feels. It's smooth. It handles the tooth of the paper.
Right. Is it chalky?
Yeah.
Greasy?
Does it break when you do?
Yeah. Does it leave a lot of dust behind?
Yeah. I don't like that. I don't like the residue on the.
But I also don't want pressure to be a lot of pressure. I want it to be smooth.
Yes. Yeah.
Man.
See, that's completely nerdy pencil talk. People will probably listen to this like, you just write with it, right? Like, no, it's an experience.
Yeah. There's an artist I know, and he's done the artwork for the not Jamaican Trinidad dollar. So he's done the portraits. That's his art, and he's in their pencils.
Oh wow!
And so this guy, he holds a pencil, and this is just one of my note taking pens. And the paper is on the wall, taped on the wall, and he just leans the pencil like this and rubs it across.
How does he hold it in his hand? Like that?
Like this.
Oh, like this?
Like this, like with his 2 fingers. He's just leaning it and going like that.
The reason for that, I bet his lead is really long too, right?
I can't remember
Yeah,
now.
so
I've seen him.
Well, there's different ways to hold a pencil depending on what you're trying to do. So if you're doing if you're drawing in your sketchbook, you probably hold it with a grip like you're writing, because you're doing small, and it's all about the fine motor skills in your hand, getting all that. But if you're doing more drawings or like painterly style of drawings where you hold it like this, and you hold it like that because it's the closest to painting, and it's and some people say you can get in a fencing pose when you paint, where your body's like this and you can lean back so you can see the picture. So
So it's more of a body mechanic.
Yeah, body mechanic. One's like your arm. You're drawing with your whole arm as opposed to just your wrist.
Right. And I got those tips of what you're just saying from Gilbert Young. Yeah. He told me. He said, and he was at a sketching session with us once, and he's sitting there drawing like this.
Yeah, you draw with your arm.
Yeah.
Now I start doing that a little more, drawing, holding it like this, or more like that, and that's to give me that loose gestural feeling that it's hard to get the gestural feeling when you're controlling it in a tight space like this, but when you have it to where you're holding it more like a paintbrush would be held, you could actually go in and get your looseness in there, and the gesture. That's where the action lives, and that's where the nature is in your drawings.
That's why the sketches look better, have a better feel than the finished ink drawings, because ink drawings are more precise and
it locks everything in. The energy and the life is in the sketching part. That's where the fluidity of it is.
That's why I love pencils. I love pencils. But I think that guy was doing that because of also gravity, and he was letting gravity also.
Well, that's amazing. I don't know how he did that.
That dude is insane. His skills are amazing. But when I started painting, and I took what Gilbert Young was saying, I started using paint markers, and I do that. And when I do murals, I do the same. Where it's your whole body.
It's your whole body.
And so I get the precision with the marker that I don't get with a paintbrush, because It takes
And
a
the
lot of work.
consistency of line.
And right, and consistency in line, and then I have my whole body like.
Yeah.
Nice. So, books. So you have a book collection. What do you suggest that? What are your recommendations for artists who are learning their getting into their art career?
Well, I'll tell you, books that helped me out. There's a series of anatomy books, one of which is by Steve Houston.
Okay.
That helped me out a lot.
Houston.
Steve Houston. He's an anatomy instructor. He's one of the best in the business. And his book really helped put things into perspective. You know, at least.
Oh, look at those drawings. Oh
Yeah, his drawings are ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
And he has a way of breaking anatomy down that makes it easier to wrap your head around. And not to mention, he's just an amazing artist in general. So that was one I picked up. Recently, I picked up a book about Robert McGinnis.
Okay.
He's an illustrator who did the James Bond covers. A lot of movie posters. Let's see.
The Art of Robert E. McGinnis.
Yeah. Click on it. Make sure that's the right guy.
And then there's the Instagram. I could have just.
When you see his work, you're gonna be like, "Oh, that guy." I don't know if this is the. Yeah, that's him. That's him. Yeah. I do wish his book actually had more about his step-by-step process, more so than just the final works. But it's an amazing book. It's still very inspirational, especially for people who are illustrators and people who appreciate the process of illustration.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Oh, there goes the James Bond.
The James Bond stuff.
Right there. Yeah. I like that. I try in some of my drawings to have that cluster of people that tells you the story about the movie.
That's fun to do. I like doing that now.
That's how you do your posters for the ABL.
Yeah. I mean, I did a picture of a guy by the name of Robert F. Williams. He was a civil rights leader out of North Carolina. And let me see. His story is unbelievable. The stuff he was able to accomplish and live, in that time frame. And I did the same format was to take a bunch of images and then composite them together to tell a story.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Same principle as movie posters.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Right. Yeah. And that's hard to do because, and you have to drive the eye.
Yeah.
In a way where the story makes sense and not look cluttered, where it makes your brain hurt.
Yeah. You got to know how to do. It's basically design. If you're a graphic,
right.
This is one of those things where graphic design comes in handy. Because you understand how to compose something that is going to have a flow for the viewer, as opposed to just like you said, dropping everything in there. And when I was teaching figure drawing, one of the classes I told the students, like, listen, anybody can teach you figure drawing. You can watch YouTube videos and pick up a lot of stuff. Like, the one thing I can offer you in this class that's a little different is composition. And then I went through how to compose an image. And I think that was the class that really clicked for them. I even showed them examples. Here's why this works. Like, you see this poster for the Avengers? The same composition is in this picture. If you notice, if you follow all the lines, everything points to this.
Right.
Once you see how the magic works, it stops becoming magic. You're like, oh, so that's how you do it. So, and hopefully that's what they can take that bit with them. Because like I said, figure drawing is figure drawing. It hasn't changed. The body is the body's the body.
Right.
But at least that's one thing that some people, at least when I was in school, I took a class in composition.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah,
I wanted to throw that in. That was like the last class before the final.
Okay, Like wrap it up into something that makes sense. I remember getting into graphic design and doing poster CD covers and book covers and stuff way back in the late '90s, and I was like, yeah, I'm a graphic designer. And then for my birthday, my sister-in-law Kim, Lord God, his wife, she gave me a book as a gift. And it said, the non-designer's design book. I was like, what? You telling me I'm not good?
Like,
I'm not good at it.
Did you like put it on the table and just slide it to you like that?
See, I'm unwrapping it like a book. And I was like, oh, okay, I need to get better.
Yeah. Was it helpful?
Yes, very helpful. Yes.
There was one book by this artist the artwork I wasn't a real big fan of. his drawings, but the content was amazing. And I'm like, oh, this is helpful. Now, the drawing style, I wasn't a fan of the drawing style, but the information was dead on, you know.
Yeah, like we were talking about earlier is that talking about the fax machines and asking people stuff. Like, that was it. Books. If you wanted to learn something, if you needed to do something, you know, we didn't have emails and websites and social media to ask questions from Norman Rockwell.
Yeah,
right?
he was long gone.
Yeah, and so, but in them days, it'd be a phone call, making appointments with his people or something like that. And then finally get to him. But
nowadays, you can get to people just by shooting them something on Instagram sometimes, and it's weird who responds back.
On Twitter.
Yeah, people respond.
Yeah,
people respond, you know. People checking it, you know.
So in them days, you had to, if you were looking for knowledge, find a book.
Yep. And I tell you this, technology is the one equalizer that no matter if you're rich or if you're poor or whatever part of the world you are, there's only but certain phones you can use. There's no rich people iPhone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? No matter how much money you got,
you
pulling out that Samsung or that iPhone.
Right.
No matter how much money you got the iPad. You know what I'm saying? So that's the one thing that, you know, you have the same thing they got.
Yeah.
You know, and it communicates.
And if you don't, the library has it.
The library has it. The same stuff.
Yes.
There's
I've seen libraries with Macs.
Yeah. There's no advantages anymore like that. Yeah. Having it is the advantage. So.
Right. Yeah. And then once you get access to it, man, the information is there. It's there. So there you go. Well, thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.
This has been a great experience seeing all this stuff. You know, now I'm inspired.
Yeah.
I'm about to get online and do some purchasing today. Yeah, you're gonna see a bunch of packages at my door.
Yes, right. Amazon. Or Alibaba.
Yeah, and my wife's gonna be like, "What happened over there? What did he show you?"
Yeah. I gave a W a tour of my studio office. And man, it's just a few things, you know. And I had Wayman here a few days ago, and he's like, "What happened?" Because he hasn't seen my space.
Yeah, it's
like what happened?
Because when you show me pictures, it's like one section. You showed me a picture of a desk with some lights, and then now we come here, and it's like a whole production studio in here.
Yes, and so I just want to say that it took time. It was time, little by little. You said I have like 3 different kinds of lights. It's like, yeah, because I would buy one kind and they're like, okay, that works for things. And then eventually you figure out the limits. And like, well, now I have a little bit of money. I can do this other thing. And then sometimes I find things that I can just trade for. I've traded devices for other devices as time goes on. And little by little you build out the things that you use and that are helpful for you. So, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try that Cintiq too, man.
Yeah. Do it.
I'm gonna try it.
Do it.
I'm gonna see what happens.
Once you borrow it, that's why I say you gotta be given to you, because once you borrow it, you don't want to give it back.
It's not gonna go back.
No, you'll be like, yeah, you don't need it, man.
Like whatever happened to it?
Don't come to my house.
You know, I tried buying a Wacom back in the day, and I bought the biggest one they made. That was a terrible mistake. Wow. It was 18 by 24 Wacom tablet. It was huge.
18 by 24.
It was like this big. I'm like, now I'm drawing.
Oh, the tablet that you draw on.
It was
just the pen.
It was just the tablet, not the one where you could see it.
Right, not this.
It took up the whole table, and I was like, "This is not going to work."
But you know, and those are great when it's a dedicated drawing area.
That's back when you couldn't look at. You had to look up at the screen.
Yeah, you look at the screen. That's right. And so some people have the tablet right there in front of you, and then the screen is directly in front. Yeah. And I always used it to the side. Yeah. And but those are good because. As an artist, or as any person who uses a mouse for long periods of time, you know, you start getting some
carpal
pains.
Tunnel. Yeah.
So as soon as you start feeling those pains, you got to go into a tablet mode.
Well, that's why I use the trackball.
Right. Okay.
So I'm the last of the dying breed of trackballers out there. I want to send a shout out to all the trackballers out there just rolling the ball around and making things happen on the computer.
There you go. Hey, whatever works for you, make it happen. Well, thank you so much, W.
Thank you very much.
You.
Thank you.
And we will see you around.
Cool. I look forward to seeing the show.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The Artist King Podcast is made possible by the support of our sponsors, Azalea Creator Group, Sketchable Plus, and Visual Artworks. Once again, I am DTM, and I look forward to sharing the business of art with you. Until next time, stay creative.